There is a moment in every life when heaven tries to reach down, and the question becomes, will you listen? Today, the message you are hearing is not random. It is not a coincidence. It is not an accident that you clicked on this video. Archangel Michael has been trying to get your attention for a long time. And today, he says, I forgive you for missing the signs, but next time, don't try to ignore my message. I want to talk to you about the most serious topic you've ever faced. Stay with this message until the end. What is coming in your life, what you are about to walk into, the decisions forming right now around you, they require clarity, protection, and spiritual awareness. And heaven does not want you walking blind. Before we begin, take a moment to like this video, subscribe, and share it with someone who may need a divine warning or a divine awakening. It helps this message reach more souls who need it. Now, breathe. Listen closely. Let the noise fade. This message is for you. There are moments in life when the veil between the physical and the spiritual becomes thin, moments when heaven attempts to speak louder than the noise of the world. Today is one of those moments. And if you are listening to this message, if your spirit felt drawn to this very moment, then understand, this is not coincidence. This is not luck. This is not you just happening to click on a video. This is a divine intervention. This is a heavenly interruption. This is Archangel Michael stepping forward, saying, I forgive you for the signs you missed before, but this time, listen. Because what I'm about to reveal is serious, and it concerns your destiny. Pause for a moment. Let those words settle. Feel them. Because no matter what you've been going through, no matter how confused, tired, or emotionally drained you may feel, heaven has been watching every single detail. And Archangel Michael, the warrior of light, the protector of souls, the defender against darkness, has been by your side long before you understood the battles you were facing. But now he steps forward, not just as a protector, but as a messenger. He wants your attention because something in your life has reached a turning point. This message is not meant to scare you. It is not meant to overwhelm you. And it is definitely not meant to condemn you. It is meant to awaken you. Because you, perhaps without even realizing it, have been walking through situations, emotional, mental, spiritual, that required divine intervention. Michael has watched you push through battles no one else saw. He has watched the weight on your shoulders increase. He has watched you try to stay strong for everyone around you while feeling weakened yourself. He has watched you cry quietly, pray silently, doubt privately. He has seen you stretched thin emotionally, spiritually, mentally, even physically. And through it all, he has whispered softly. Wake up. Pay attention. Something is shifting around you. But life has been loud. Stress has been heavy. Your mind has been cluttered. Your heart has been tired. So the whispers were drowned out. And even when signs appeared, subtle signs, emotional warnings, strange coincidences, sudden changes, you brushed them aside. Not because you are blind, but because you are human. Sometimes you hoped you were mistaken. Sometimes you thought you were overreacting. Sometimes you chose comfort over clarity. Sometimes fear of change held you back from facing truth. Michael understands that. He does not accuse you of ignoring the signs. He knows the reasons you hesitated. But today, he comes forward with a firmness your spirit cannot ignore. He says, you cannot keep walking blind. You cannot keep pretending not to see what is happening around you. You cannot allow confusion to cloud your intuition. The next chapter of your life depends on you paying attention. Why now? Why the urgency? Because the energy around you has been shifting, massively, intensely, undeniably. And whether you've sensed it strongly or only faintly, your life is entering a phase where decisions and directions hold far more weight than before. This is why Michael is speaking so clearly. Heaven cannot let you walk into the next season unconscious. You have been feeling certain things. A sudden heaviness you couldn't explain. A sudden change in the behavior of people around you. A sudden desire for isolation or quiet. A lack of peace in places that once felt comfortable. Dreams that felt symbolic, heavy, or strange. A pull away from certain people or environments. An inner knowing that something is off, even if you can't pinpoint it. A feeling of being watched over, yet still unsettled. These are not random sensations. These are spiritual alerts. And Michael has been standing at your side, watching these shifts, gently trying to catch your attention. He has been blocking things you didn't recognize as danger. He has been shielding you from energies you didn't see. He has been cutting cords you would have never cut yourself. He has been revealing truth slowly, in ways you could handle. But now, the pace is changing. Because there is something ahead, something heaven has prepared for you, that requires your full awareness. Heaven needs you present, grounded, clear, and aligned. Heaven needs you to see what you previously brushed aside. Heaven needs you to listen in a way you didn't before. This is why Michael says, I forgive you for the signs you missed. But do not ignore this message. This one is important. Think back for a moment. Think about the last few weeks or months. Remember the conversations that unsettled you. The sudden conflicts that didn't make sense. The energy that shifted around certain people. The warning dreams that woke you up at night. The moments you felt someone was draining you. The opportunities that disappeared unexpectedly. The sudden urge to change direction. The deep sense that something bigger is going on around you. All of this has been part of a spiritual unfolding, one you weren't meant to understand yet, but you were meant to feel. Michael has been preparing you for this message. And what is he trying to say? He wants to wake up the warrior in you. He wants to sharpen your spiritual senses. He wants to clear the fog that has been clouding your intuition. He wants to expose the distractions pulling your energy down. He wants to protect the destiny ahead of you. Because the truth is, you are not just walking through life. You are being guided. You are being shaped. You are being positioned. Every shift, every delay, every strange moment, none of it is random. But you cannot respond correctly if you are not spiritually awake. That is why this message came now. That is why it feels heavy yet comforting. That is why it feels urgent yet protective. That is why your spirit is alert while listening. You are being realigned. Archangel Michael is calling you into a higher level of awareness, a deeper level of discernment, and a new level of strength. You have outgrown old patterns, old environments, old connections, old fears, and old versions of yourself. But you have not fully stepped into the new version yet. This message is here to bridge that gap. Michael is not here to scold you. He is here to awaken you. He is here to strengthen you. He is here to guide you. He is here to walk with you into clarity. Heaven is trying to protect you from what you cannot yet see. And prepare you for what you are about to walk into. And today is the moment the awakening begins. Archangel Michael's message grows heavier here, not with fear, but with truth. He steps forward with the authority of heaven and says, the battle that concerns me most is not around your home, your job, or your relationships. The greatest battle happening right now is inside your mind. This is the serious topic he wants to address. Because before anything changes around you, something must change within you. Before a blessing reaches you, your mindset must be clear enough to recognize it. Before heaven opens a door, your spirit must be awake enough to walk through it. Before the enemy is defeated outwardly, he must be defeated in your thoughts. And Archangel Michael has been watching something the world cannot see. Your mind has been under attack. Not randomly. Not occasionally. Not lightly. This has been an active, strategic, consistent attempt to drain your clarity, disturb your peace, weaken your hope, confuse your direction, and cloud your spiritual vision. It started subtly. A thought here. A worry there. A fear that didn't make sense. A heaviness you couldn't explain. A voice of doubt that didn't sound like you. At first, you brushed it off. Then it grew stronger. It became louder. It became heavier. It became harder to push back. And Michael is revealing to you now that what you thought was just stress, or just anxiety, or just overthinking, was actually something far deeper. There has been a spiritual war over your mind. Because your mind is the gate of your destiny. If your mind collapses, your purpose collapses. If your mind is weakened, your decisions are weakened. If your mind is confused, your path becomes unclear. If your mind is attacked long enough, your spirit becomes exhausted. This is why the enemy targeted your mind first. This is why you felt drained for no reason. This is why you lost motivation suddenly. This is why you felt disconnected from yourself. This is why you were unable to think clearly. This is why your emotions were unstable. This is why you struggled with thoughts you never wanted. This is why old wounds resurfaced out of nowhere. This is why negative memories replayed again and again. But here is the part you didn't know. These were not your thoughts. These were not your feelings. These were not your fears. These were spiritual intrusions designed to weaken your mental and emotional defenses. And Michael has watched this attack for too long. He steps forward now to bring understanding, because he cannot allow confusion to continue ruling your mind. He cannot allow fear to continue whispering into your spirit. He cannot allow lies to replace truth. He says, your mind is sacred. Your thoughts are powerful. Your spirit is stronger than you realize. And you cannot keep letting the enemy occupy space that belongs to peace and clarity. Think about the last few months. Think about the things you've been battling silently. The random waves of sadness that didn't match your day. The fear of the future that appeared even when nothing was wrong. The sudden anxiety that didn't connect to any real cause. The overthinking that spiraled out of control. The doubts that made you question your worth. The mental fatigue you couldn't relieve no matter how much you rested. The emotional numbness that made everything feel distant. The loss of excitement for things you used to love. The feeling of being mentally stuck, spiritually stuck, emotionally stuck. These are symptoms of spiritual warfare, not personal weakness. Archangel Michael says, this attack has one goal: to disconnect you from who you truly are, to blind you to the truth of your purpose, and to delay the calling placed on your life. Because when the mind is attacked, you stop trusting your intuition. You ignore spiritual signs. You lose confidence in your decisions. You become afraid of change. You sabotage your blessings unconsciously. You cling to people who drain you because loneliness whispers lies. You confuse temporary emotions with permanent truth. You forget how powerful you really are. But here is the deeper truth. The enemy attacks what he fears. Your mind has been under attack because your destiny is dangerous to darkness. Your clarity is powerful. Your awakening is threatening. Your potential is intimidating. And Michael says, the enemy targeted your mind because it is the engine of your purpose. Your spirit knows the truth. Your soul carries divine instruction. Your heart holds alignment. Your intuition has been awakening. But your mind, your thoughts, became the battlefield. Now understand this. Every great spiritual awakening begins with mental warfare. Every chosen soul is attacked before they rise. Every destiny carrier walks through confusion before clarity. You are not losing your mind. You are battling for it. And the fact that you are listening to this message means you are winning, even if you don't feel like it. Michael reveals something else. The heaviness you felt was not weakness. It was sensitivity to spiritual shifts. You were not breaking down. You were being pushed toward awakening. Heaven has been preparing you to see the truth. Heaven has been strengthening your intuition. Heaven has been molding your perception. But the enemy tried to distort that process by flooding your mind with false fears, false guilt, false narratives, false images, false expectations, false attachments, false thoughts about yourself. And Michael says, I am stepping in now to restore your clarity. Feel that. Feel the restoration. Feel your thoughts slowing. Feel the weight shifting. Feel the fog lifting. Because when Michael speaks, confusion breaks. Heaven is declaring that your mind will not remain a battlefield. Your thoughts will not remain unstable. Your spirit will not remain exhausted. Your future will not remain unclear. And this is the serious message. Your mind must be protected at all costs. Because clarity is coming. Breakthrough is near. Alignment is forming. New doors are opening. Elevation is approaching. But if your mind is weakened, you won't be able to recognize the blessings being prepared for you. You won't see the opportunity when it appears. You won't hear the instructions heaven has been trying to deliver. That is why Michael needed to speak now. Not tomorrow. Not later. Not someday. Now. Because the war over your mind is reaching its end. And the shift into clarity is beginning. Heaven is reclaiming your mental space. Heaven is restoring your inner peace. Heaven is strengthening your spiritual sight. Heaven is cleansing the voices that were not yours. Heaven is silencing the thoughts that were not divine. Michael says, your mind will return to peace. Your thoughts will return to stability. Your spirit will rise stronger than before. This is the turning point. This is the awakening. This is the serious message heaven needed you to hear. The presence of Archangel Michael settles over the atmosphere like a blanket of strength and clarity. His message becomes heavier, deeper, more precise. You can feel the shift even before the words come. There is a seriousness in the air, a holy seriousness, the kind that makes you straighten your posture and listen with your entire soul. He begins to speak about a weight many people carry in silence. This is the weight that shows up in your mind late at night when everything is quiet. It is the heaviness that reminds you of old choices, old patterns, old wounds, and old mistakes. Michael wants you to understand that heaven never intended for you to walk around with invisible chains wrapped around your spirit. But he also knows that the enemy uses these chains to keep you from stepping into your calling. You may think you've moved on. You may think you've healed. But some shadows still linger, hiding behind your thoughts, whispering doubts every time you try to rise. Michael is shining a divine light into those shadows now. Not to shame you, not to punish you, but to free you. There is something he wants you to understand clearly. Ignoring divine nudges doesn't make them disappear, it simply delays your breakthrough. Every time you silence your intuition, every time you push aside that inner warning or that gentle guidance, the path becomes a little harder to see. Heaven doesn't stop speaking, it's your attention that becomes scattered. And when your attention drifts, trouble finds room to enter. This is what Archangel Michael is addressing in this moment. He says there have been moments recently where you sensed something wasn't right. You felt discomfort in your spirit. You felt a pull away from certain people, places, or situations. But instead of trusting that inner alarm, you hesitated. You second-guessed it. You tried to rationalize it, telling yourself you were overthinking or being dramatic. Michael is revealing the truth behind that hesitation. The enemy is most successful not when he's loud, but when he convinces you to dismiss your own God-given discernment. When he makes you believe that your intuition is insignificant. When he tricks you into thinking that you can handle everything alone without spiritual guidance. The Archangel is stepping in now, not to frighten you, but to remind you that your spiritual sensitivity is a gift. A sacred one. And it grows sharper every time you honor it. He tells you gently but firmly that something serious is unfolding around your life. This seriousness is not meant to bring fear. It is meant to bring awareness. You are being guided away from a situation that could harm you spiritually, emotionally, or even physically. Heaven sees far beyond what you can see. They see intentions you cannot detect. They see traps you have not yet walked into. They see consequences that your heart is not prepared for. Michael's message becomes stronger. He says the enemy has been trying to create confusion around you. Not chaos that is obvious, no, the enemy prefers subtle confusion. The kind that makes you question yourself. The kind that makes you delay decisions that God already told you to make. The kind that makes you reopen doors that heaven closed. The kind that makes you stay where you were meant to move. But tonight, that confusion is being cut away. Michael is raising his sword, the divine sword of clarity. Every fog, every doubt, every illusion breaks under its light. Heaven is restoring your sight. Heaven is restoring your courage. Heaven is restoring your ability to act when God speaks. He wants you to understand something powerful. When heaven calls your name, it is never random. It is never accidental. It is never unnecessary. If Michael says, listen, stop, pay attention, it is because your destiny is being protected. Your future is being protected. Your peace is being protected. Heaven never warns you without purpose. And Michael adds this: ignoring divine guidance might slow you down, but it will never disqualify you. You are not being punished. You are being redirected. You are being safeguarded. You are being lifted. But the time to listen is now. He reassures you again that forgiveness has already been given. Grace has already covered you. Love still surrounds you. But the next phase of your journey requires deeper awareness, deeper trust, and deeper obedience. Heaven will never force you to listen, but they will continue urging you until you realize the message is for your good and not your harm. This is why Michael is speaking so strongly today. The stakes are higher. The season you are stepping into demands spiritual sharpness. You are about to access blessings, opportunities, and breakthroughs that the enemy does not want you to reach. Distractions will increase. Emotional traps will appear. Old cycles may attempt to return. That is exactly why heaven is calling you to attention. You are being prepared for elevation, for protection, for clarity, for alignment. And Michael is standing beside you, ready to clear the path, but only if you walk with awareness. This is the moment to open your heart. This is the moment to tune your ears. This is the moment to take spiritual messages seriously, because they are shaping the blessings that are about to unfold. And as this part closes, Michael leaves you with a truth that echoes through your spirit. When I warn you, it is not to scare you. It is to save you. Trust what you feel. Trust what you hear. Trust what heaven shows you. Your life is being guarded for a divine reason. The atmosphere grows heavier, deeper, richer with divine presence as Archangel Michael steps forward again. His voice carries a different tone now, still loving, still protective, but layered with a level of urgency that cannot be ignored. It's the kind of urgency that comes when heaven sees something approaching that you cannot perceive yet. Something forming behind the scenes. Something that demands your attention before it's too late. Michael begins to speak about a truth many people overlook: when heaven prepares to elevate you, opposition often rises first. Not because you are doing something wrong, but because your growth threatens everything that once kept you small. There is a shift happening around your life. A change in spiritual atmosphere. You may have felt it recently: a pulling away from certain people, a sudden discomfort in familiar places, a strange heaviness when you engage in old habits, a tightening in your spirit when you sense someone's hidden intentions. These sensations are not random. They are divine alerts. Michael reveals something profound: you are entering a season where discernment is not optional, it is essential. This is not a time to move blindly. This is not a time to ignore what your spirit feels. This is not a time to silence your intuition because of fear, nostalgia, or guilt. Heaven is showing you signs, not to overwhelm you, but to prepare you. Michael speaks with clarity now, explaining that certain connections around you are shifting. Some connections were only meant to walk with you for a chapter, not your lifetime. Some people were stepping stones, not spiritual partners. Some were lessons, not destiny. And heaven is removing the veil so you can finally see things as they truly are, not as you wished they were. There are individuals whose words sound kind, but their spirit carries envy. There are people who smile in your face, but tighten inside when they see you blessed. There are connections that drain you slowly, quietly, subtly, so subtly that you don't even realize how much strength you lose each time you interact. Michael is revealing these truths because you are stepping into a new realm of spiritual authority. To move forward, you must travel light. Excess weight cannot go with you. Emotional burdens cannot go with you. Old cycles cannot go with you. And most importantly, spiritually dangerous connections cannot stay attached to you. You may not understand right now why certain doors closed. You may not understand why someone suddenly pulled away or why God suddenly pulled you away. But heaven understands what you cannot see. Michael states gently, every rejection was a redirection. Every ending was protection. Every departure was alignment. And even though you may have cried, questioned, argued with God, or tried to hold on longer than you should have, heaven never stopped guiding you. Michael reminds you that even when you didn't listen, even when you resisted, even when you settled, heaven stayed patient with you. Because your calling is too important. Your destiny is too valuable. Your spirit is too precious to be left in the wrong hands. He speaks now about the traps the enemy sets, traps that look harmless at first. Traps disguised as opportunities. Traps disguised as friendships. Traps disguised as comfort. Traps disguised as temporary distractions that slowly turn into spiritual chains. Michael says you have been spared from more than you will ever know. There were situations that would have broken your confidence. There were people who would have drained your purpose. There were paths that would have delayed your destiny for years. And each time, heaven blocked them, even when you didn't understand why. Heaven is not trying to control your life. Heaven is trying to preserve your future. Michael invites you to look back at the moments that hurt but saved you. The moments you didn't ask for but needed. The moments that felt like loss but were actually divine intervention. Those moments were heaven's way of saying, you deserve better. Now he shifts the message again, bringing your focus to your future. A new chapter is forming. A new life path is opening. New blessings are coming that require spiritual maturity, emotional stability, and mental clarity. You can no longer entertain the people or habits that lower your vibration. You can no longer return to the places where your spirit suffocates. You can no longer pretend you don't feel what you feel. Michael says, when heaven is preparing you for greatness, discomfort becomes your sign. You've been feeling that discomfort lately. The inner tension. The strange heaviness. The sudden need to isolate. The growing desire for peace. The urge to let go. These feelings are not signs of weakness. They are signals of transformation. Your soul is evolving. Your purpose is awakening. Your identity is shifting. You are becoming someone who can no longer shrink to fit old spaces. This is why Michael is being so direct now. He wants you to move with wisdom. He wants you to walk with alertness. He wants you to protect your spirit. Not from fear, but from clarity. You are being called to rise. You are being called to listen. You are being called to release what was and embrace what is coming. Heaven is positioning you for something extraordinary, something bigger than your doubts, stronger than your past, and more beautiful than you can imagine. Michael places this truth into your spirit. Do not fear the changes. Fear staying where you no longer belong. Trust what you feel. Trust what is shifting. Trust the doors that close. Trust the path heaven is building beneath your feet. You are being led to a place your spirit has longed for. The energy in the room settles, not in silence, but in holy anticipation. Something life-changing is unfolding. Something you have prayed for is preparing to manifest. And Michael's presence remains beside you, guiding every step, cutting through every distraction, clearing every unseen danger. A profound silence settles into the atmosphere, not an empty silence but a holy one, the kind that feels alive. The kind that comes right before a revelation. You can almost sense the shift in the spiritual temperature. It feels as though the very air is preparing to open itself, to reveal something that heaven has been waiting patiently to release into your life. In this sacred quiet, Archangel Michael steps forward again. His presence feels even larger, even brighter, even more intense than before. The room feels smaller, your awareness sharper, your spirit more alert. It's as if heaven itself is leaning closer, inviting you to listen with your soul instead of your ears. Michael begins to speak not with urgency this time, but with a deep, unshakable calm. The kind of calm only a divine guardian carries. The kind that tells you that what he is about to reveal is not meant to frighten you, but to empower you. He begins by reminding you of a truth you may have forgotten: you were never created to live an ordinary life. You were never meant to walk through this world unnoticed, unprotected, or unsupported. You were born with purpose built into your spirit, woven into the unseen threads of your identity. And heaven has been watching over that purpose since the day you first breathed. But over time, life has a way of burying purpose under layers of pain, disappointment, fear, and confusion. Some of these layers were placed on you without your permission. Others grew slowly through the battles you faced, the betrayals you endured, and the moments you questioned your worth. Michael acknowledges all of this, not to validate your wounds, but to show you how heaven has been intervening even when you thought you were alone. Heaven saw the nights you struggled in silence. Heaven saw the seasons where you felt forgotten. Heaven saw the moments when you were tempted to give up. And heaven refused to let your story end there. Michael says your pain did not disqualify you. Your doubts did not disqualify you. Your delays did not disqualify you. Heaven still chose you. Heaven is still guiding you. Heaven is still fighting for you. This part of the message becomes heavier as Michael guides your attention towards something deeply spiritual. He reveals that while you have been walking forward, something has been trying to pull you backward. Not something obvious. Not something dramatic. Something subtle. Something quiet. Something disguised. There has been an energy, a pattern, a cycle that has been trying to pull you into old habits, old relationships, old fears, and old ways of thinking. It has been trying to reattach itself during moments of weakness. It has been trying to lure you back into environments you've already outgrown. And it has been whispering lies to you, lies about your worth, lies about your purpose, lies about your future. Michael exposes these whispers now. He shines a divine light on the spiritual strategy that has been working behind the scenes. Not to alarm you, but to empower you through awareness. He explains that every time your spirit begins to rise, something tries to drag you back. Every time you start to heal, something tries to reopen the wound. Every time you take steps toward your destiny, something tries to distract you. These are not coincidences. These are not flaws in your character. These are spiritual patterns designed to hinder your growth. But Michael says this is the moment the cycle breaks. He lifts his sword, not physically, but spiritually, and declares that every chain, every pattern, every repeating struggle that has kept you stuck is being destroyed in this very moment. Not by your strength, but by heaven's authority. Not by your effort, but by divine intervention. You are not fighting this battle alone. You never were. Michael goes deeper, revealing that spiritual attacks often rise strongest right before breakthroughs. That is why you felt pressure, heaviness, or confusion lately. That is why emotions you thought you healed tried to resurface. That is why old temptations tried to return. That is why people from your past tried to reappear. Because your spirit is on the edge of a new level, and the enemy always tries to drag souls backward before they step into elevation. Heaven is interrupting that strategy right now. Michael speaks directly to your soul. You are stronger than you know. You are wiser than you were. You are more spiritually mature than ever before. You are prepared for what is coming, even if you don't feel it yet. He begins to reveal something that has been hidden. Heaven has been arranging new opportunities around you. Not temporary opportunities. Not surface-level opportunities. Deep, life-changing opportunities that align with your purpose and your destiny. Opportunities that require a healed mind, a clear spirit, and a protected heart. This is why heaven has been cutting away certain connections. This is why you've been experiencing emotional distance from things that once felt comfortable. This is why your spirit has been warning you about environments that no longer feel safe. Heaven is clearing space for the blessings that are coming. Michael describes these upcoming blessings not as random gifts, but as divine assignments. These blessings are aligned with the prayers you prayed long ago, prayers you may have forgotten, but heaven did not. These blessings are tied to your identity, your purpose, your spiritual gifts, and your destiny. Heaven is preparing you for a life you once labeled impossible. But the impossible is heaven's specialty. Michael's tone shifts again, this time carrying deep compassion as he addresses something that weighs heavily on many hearts: self-blame. He reveals that one of the enemy's cruelest weapons is convincing you that you are too broken to be blessed. Too flawed to be chosen. Too inconsistent to be trusted by heaven. Michael crushes that lie now. He says heaven has forgiven the mistakes you refuse to forgive yourself for. Heaven has healed wounds you keep reopening in your mind. Heaven has already redeemed parts of your story you still feel ashamed of. You are harder on yourself than heaven has ever been. He reminds you, you are loved in ways you cannot comprehend. You are forgiven in ways you cannot measure. You are chosen in ways you cannot undo. Then, with divine clarity, he reveals the part that many overlook: heaven is not asking for your perfection. Heaven is asking for your willingness. Heaven is asking for your attention. Heaven is asking for your obedience when you feel the nudge, the warning, the pull. Heaven is asking for your trust. Michael says trust is the bridge between where you are and where heaven is taking you. Trust is what carries you across uncertainty. Trust is what gets you through seasons of waiting. Trust is what keeps your faith alive when nothing around you seems to change. You may not understand everything happening around you right now, but heaven does. And heaven is working behind the scenes with a precision you cannot see yet. Michael begins to speak about your future in a way that feels almost prophetic. He describes a version of you that is stronger, freer, wiser, calmer, and more spiritually powerful. A version of you that walks confidently in your calling. A version of you that attracts blessings with ease because you are aligned with your purpose. A version of you that no longer settles for what drains your spirit. He reveals that this future version of you is not far away. You are evolving into that person right now. Every challenge has been shaping you. Every disappointment has been redirecting you. Every delay has been preparing you. You are closer to transformation than you realize. Michael says, you are not being broken, you are being rebuilt. You are not being punished, you are being positioned. You are not being delayed, you are being prepared. Heaven is guiding you into a season where clarity will replace confusion. Peace will replace anxiety. Strength will replace fear. Opportunities will replace obstacles. And purpose will replace wandering. This is the season where you finally understand why things had to happen the way they did. Michael ends this section with a powerful, earth-shaking truth. The path is opening. The warfare is ending. The chains are breaking. The light is increasing. And you are stepping into a destiny that was written for you before you even arrived on this earth. You can feel the weight of those words settle into your soul like a seed planted in fertile soil. A seed that is already beginning to grow. Part 5 comes to a close with the warm echo of Michael's presence still lingering around you, reminding you that heaven is closer than your breath, stronger than your fears, and more committed to your destiny than you could ever imagine. The atmosphere shifts once again, but this time it does not simply grow heavier or lighter. Something far more profound begins to unfold around you. It feels as though a veil is being lifted, a curtain pulled back, revealing a dimension of truth you were never meant to overlook. A dimension that has always existed, but only now is heaven opening your eyes wide enough to perceive it. Archangel Michael's presence expands, filling every part of the room, every corner of your awareness. It feels as though time slows down. As though the spiritual realm is aligning itself with your attention. Michael steps forward, not physically, but spiritually, and the clarity of his presence is so overwhelming you can almost feel it pressing against your chest. He begins to speak again, but this time his voice carries a level of seriousness that surpasses everything he has said before. His tone is steady but firm, powerful yet compassionate. It feels like the kind of voice that has carried warnings across centuries, the kind of voice that has guided countless souls out of danger and into destiny. He tells you that what he is about to reveal is something heaven has waited for the right moment to deliver. Something your spirit is finally ready to understand. Something that will change not only how you see your past, but how you walk into your future. Michael reveals that for a long time, a spiritual battle has been taking place around your life. Not an obvious battle. Not a noisy battle. A silent one. A strategic one. A battle designed to influence your thoughts, your emotions, your decisions, and your direction without you realizing where the influence was coming from. Heaven has watched every moment of this battle. And heaven has intervened more times than you could ever imagine. Michael explains that every sudden heaviness you felt, every unexpected fear that gripped you, every moment you felt lost or confused, every wave of discouragement that seemed to come out of nowhere, every desire to give up, even when nothing was wrong, none of those were random. They were spiritual attacks forming in the unseen realm, attempting to break your momentum, disrupt your focus, and weaken your spirit. And heaven fought for you every single time. Heaven shielded your mind when the enemy tried to overwhelm it. Heaven protected your heart when the enemy tried to harden it. Heaven guarded your path when the enemy tried to redirect it. Michael reveals that some of the battles you fought were not caused by your mistakes at all. They were caused by your potential. The enemy feared what you were becoming. The enemy saw the awakening within you before you saw it in yourself. The enemy saw the power, the wisdom, the spiritual strength rising within you, and tried to stop it at every opportunity. This is why the attacks felt stronger during seasons when you were trying to heal. This is why the struggles intensified when you began to pray more. This is why confusion increased when you started listening to your intuition. The enemy fights hardest against the souls who are closest to breakthrough. But Michael lifts his sword and declares that the attacks are losing their power. The chains are weakening. The illusions are crumbling. And the enemy's influence is being exposed. Heaven is illuminating everything that once hid in darkness. Michael begins to reveal another powerful truth: every season of your life has been preparing you for something greater. Nothing has been wasted. Not the heartbreak. Not the disappointment. Not the delays. Not the confusion. Not even the moments when you felt yourself fall backwards. Every experience has shaped you. Every struggle has matured you. Every setback has strengthened you. Every closed door redirected you. Every painful moment refined you. You are not the same person you once were. You have grown in ways you haven't yet acknowledged. You have survived things that would have destroyed others. You have endured emotional storms that could have broken your spirit entirely. And yet here you stand, with more fight, more wisdom, more courage, more spiritual sensitivity than ever before. Michael reminds you gently. You survived what was meant to break you. You overcame what was meant to bury you. You outgrew what was meant to limit you. And now heaven is preparing to reward you. There is a long pause. A sacred pause. And then Michael speaks again, revealing something very few ever understand. He explains that when heaven chooses someone for a divine calling, that person often goes through seasons of isolation. Not because heaven wants them lonely. Not because heaven is punishing them. But because heaven is removing distractions, clearing attachments, and preparing their spirit to hear clearly. You have been in such a season. A season where certain people drifted away. A season where you felt disconnected from things that once excited you. A season where familiar places no longer felt right. A season where your spirit felt restless, unsettled, searching for something deeper. Michael says this was not emptiness. This was spiritual preparation. Heaven has been separating you from everything that could interfere with the next chapter of your life. Heaven has been making space for the blessings you prayed for. Heaven has been shaping your heart to handle the assignment you are stepping into. Heaven has been strengthening you in silence so you can stand confidently in the coming season of abundance. Michael reveals another truth that pierces through the room with power: the path ahead will require a stronger version of you. Not because something terrible is coming, but because something extraordinary is coming. Something that can only be sustained by someone spiritually awake, emotionally grounded, and deeply connected to divine guidance. Heaven will not allow your next blessing to be destroyed by old habits or old connections. Heaven will not allow your destiny to be compromised by the same patterns that once held you back. Heaven will not send you into the next phase unprotected or unprepared. This is why Archangel Michael's message is so urgent. The time for ignoring spiritual guidance has passed. You are being called to a higher level of awareness, discipline, and alignment. Heaven is whispering to you constantly. Heaven is sending signs. Heaven is placing warnings in your spirit. Heaven is nudging you away from danger and toward purpose. Michael says, listen closely. Trust the pull. Trust the warning. Trust the discomfort. Trust the divine guidance within you. It is heaven speaking. He begins to speak about the blessings ahead, blessings that are closer than you think. These blessings are not superficial. They are not fleeting. They are not temporary flashes of happiness. They are deep, life-transforming blessings that affect every part of your existence. Blessings that heal your spirit. Blessings that lift your life. Blessings that bring clarity. Blessings that restore peace. Blessings that break generational burdens. Blessings that open doors you thought were impossible. Blessings that align you with the purpose written for you since the beginning. Michael tells you that these blessings have already been released in the spiritual realm. They are on their way. The timing is divine. The alignment is happening. But your spirit must be ready to receive them without sabotage, self-doubt, or spiritual blindness. That is why heaven has been calling your attention. That is why Michael says, do not ignore the messages anymore. Not because heaven is angry, but because your destiny is too important to risk. Michael reveals that the next chapter of your life will require courage, courage to trust heaven's direction, courage to let go of what no longer serves you, courage to step into opportunities that feel bigger than you, courage to leave behind cycles that once felt comfortable but now feel suffocating. Heaven is preparing you to become the version of yourself that can handle the weight of the blessings ahead. Michael assures you, you are not stepping into this next chapter alone. Heaven is walking beside you. Heaven is guiding your steps. Heaven is illuminating your path. Heaven is strengthening your spirit. Heaven is preparing the way. Your only task is to listen, trust, and move when called. The room feels different now. Brighter. Higher. Filled with a sense of divine anticipation. It feels as though something is being released into your life at this very moment, something powerful, something sacred, something that will change the course of your journey from this day forward. Michael concludes this section with a message that settles deep into your spirit like a holy fire. You are protected. You are chosen. You are guided. You are watched over. You are strengthened. And the season ahead will reveal why heaven never allowed you to give up. Prepare yourself. Align yourself. Remain alert. Your life is about to shift in ways that will astonish you. His presence begins to soften, not because he is leaving, but because the message has been delivered. A message not of fear, but of clarity. Not of warning alone, but of awakening. Not of danger alone, but of destiny. Archangel Michael wants you to understand something that most people will never realize in their entire lifetime. The moment when everything seems to fall apart is often the exact moment everything is actually coming together. The moment when your heart feels the heaviest is often the moment heaven is closest. The moment when you think you're being punished is often the moment you're actually being protected. Michael says that he has watched you hold on to many things that were never meant to stay. You held on because you loved deeply. You held on because you cared honestly. You held on because your intentions were pure. But the problem with having a pure heart in an unclean world is that pure hearts often carry more than they were meant to. You carry emotions you didn't create. You carry burdens you didn't deserve. You carry responsibilities that were never yours. And somewhere in that process, you lost the connection to your own peace, your own clarity, and your own spiritual authority. Michael says this is the conversation he has been waiting to have with you. This is why he kept sending signs. This is why he kept showing you repeating numbers. This is why he kept giving you dreams, subtle nudges, sensations in your chest, chills on your arms, and sudden moments of awareness. This is why he kept speaking to your intuition when you were alone. He needed you to understand that Spirit has been trying to move you into a safer timeline, a higher timeline, and a more aligned destiny. You didn't imagine those warnings. You didn't exaggerate those feelings. You didn't overthink those messages. They were real. They were intentional. They were urgent. And they were meant for you. Michael says that you have reached a spiritual junction point. A crossroads. A turning moment that determines what happens next in your life. And he wants you to understand the seriousness of this phase. This is the season where you cannot afford to ignore your intuition. This is the season where you cannot afford to delay the changes you've been shown. This is the season where you cannot afford to remain connected to anything that disturbs your peace. This is the season where you cannot afford to stay in any environment that drains your light. This is the season where you cannot afford to misinterpret divine warnings as random emotions. Heaven is not playing with your destiny. Heaven is not confused about your path. And heaven is not casual about your purpose. Michael says that recent events in your life were not coincidences. They were spiritual alarms. Situations that made you uncomfortable were meant to push you forward. Relationships that suddenly shifted were meant to release you. Conversations that revealed true colors were meant to protect you. Rejections were meant to redirect you. The ending was not an ending. It was a rescue. Michael is asking you to stop calling it a loss and start calling it protection. Stop calling it betrayal and start calling it revelation. Stop calling it confusion and start calling it clarity. You prayed for growth. You prayed for healing. You prayed for a breakthrough. You prayed for alignment. But spiritual growth often requires spiritual surgery. Healing often requires removal. Breakthrough often requires a breakdown first. Alignment often requires disconnection from everything that isn't meant for your future. Michael says that he isn't warning you because he is angry, he is warning you because you are close, so close, to stepping into a new season that looks nothing like the pain you've survived. You're not imagining the shift. You're not imagining the tension. You're not imagining the pressure. You're not imagining the strange peace in the middle of uncertainty. All of it is part of the transition. And Michael wants to prepare you for what happens next. A door you thought was closed permanently is going to open again, but this time in a healthier way. A blessing that once felt delayed is going to arrive suddenly. A prayer you whispered quietly, thinking heaven didn't hear, is being fulfilled loudly. A chapter you thought would repeat will finally end for good. And a version of you that you thought was lost will rise again, stronger, wiser, and more spiritually awake. Michael says your discernment is increasing. Your intuition is sharpening. Your spiritual vision is clearing. And your connection to heaven is strengthening in ways you do not yet fully understand. This is why you can no longer settle for what drains you. This is why you can no longer tolerate what wounds you. This is why you can no longer participate in cycles that break your spirit. This is why you can no longer make excuses for people who refuse to grow. Heaven is elevating you, and elevation always requires separation. Michael is also asking you to prepare emotionally. Because when your blessings arrive, certain people will become uncomfortable. They will question how you received what you received. They will question why God favored you. They will question how you survived everything that was meant to break you. But Michael says you are not responsible for explaining divine grace. You are simply responsible for walking in it. The next season of your life will make sense of every painful moment you endured. The next season of your life will reveal why God didn't allow certain connections to stay. The next season of your life will show you why you were hidden, why you were delayed, and why you were protected. What was taken from you will be replaced with something better. What was broken will be rebuilt. What was lost will be restored. What was blocked will be opened. What was confusing will be clarified. You are entering a season of divine justice. A season of divine restoration. A season of divine protection. A season of divine alignment. Archangel Michael says, I am not just removing what harms you. I am preparing what will elevate you. Do not fight my guidance. Do not ignore my signs. Do not delay your obedience. Your destiny depends on your alignment. And now, as this message reaches your spirit, Michael asks you to make one final decision. Choose your future over your comfort. Choose your calling over your fear. Choose your peace over your history. Choose your alignment over your attachments. Choose your divine path over your past cycles. Because once you choose correctly, everything that has been waiting for you will begin to unfold. To everyone watching this video, if this message spoke to your spirit, don't leave without acknowledging it. Make sure you like this video, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe for more messages that speak directly to your soul. And in the comments, write, I align with divine guidance. This lets heaven know you received this message with a willing heart.